وسهلا بكل الذين ينضموا للاستماع إلى راديو بلدي أول راديو عربي أمريكي ويعنى بقضايا العرب في المهجر. برامجنا في راديو بلدي كل يوم جمعة من 8 وحتى 9 صباحا مع ليلى الحسيني في بث حي ومباشر عبر WNZK راديو 690 AM. صباح الخير بلدي، صباح الخير لكل مستمعينا.
Welcome to Radio Baladi, the first Arab, Middle Eastern, and American simulcast radio show. Radio Baladi is broadcast every Friday morning on WNZK 690 AM from 8 until 9 Eastern Time on Good Morning Michigan with Layla Al-Husseini. Our call-in number 248-557-3300. And now, stay tuned for the best radio talk show on Arab and American issues with your host, Layla Al-Husseini.
And good morning, everybody. This is Radio Baladi, Friday, November 12, 2021, and I'm your guest host, Ray Hanania. This morning on WNZK AM 690 Radio, live in Dearborn and on Facebook. Listen to us live on radio this morning for the next hour. You can go to the Facebook page at facebook.com/US Arab Radio. We're talking with radio listeners this morning on WNZK AM 690, broadcast out of Dearborn, Michigan, on a wide range of topics. But first, I want to just say nice shout out to Crystal Mayo, the Party Train and Cup of Joe, and Layla Al-Husseini, the media mogul. Those two women have the most sultry voices on radio. They sound great. And it's just so nice to be part of their network, Layla's radio network, Monday through Friday here at WNZK AM 690, and also to hear Crystal Mayo's program, which precedes our broadcast. I'm only here on Fridays, the second Friday of every month, doing Radio Baladi, and I'm hoping that we'll be back later on with the Arab News, the Ray Hanania show. I'm hoping we have news about that soon. We're going to be talking with listeners, so our number is 248-557-3300, 248-557-3300. Yeah, Mike, tell Crystal I said she deserves it, and I love her music. One day we're going to have to do a Facebook dance session, all right? Although I'm getting too old to dance, I might still be able to move it a little bit. I'm just not quite sure. This morning we're going to be talking about the recent elections of Arab mayors in Dearborn, Dearborn Heights, and Hamtramck. I can never get that last one right. How do Arabs move into a town with the word ham in it? Well, I guess that started in Bethlehem. And we'll be getting your views on the big stories in America, like the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. It's all over TV. Is he a murderer or was he defending himself? If you read my columns at Hanania.com, you'll know I think he was, should never have gone out there, shouldn't have been carrying a weapon. But it was a situation where I think that some of the protesters got out of hand, the emotions on both sides, and he was defending himself. And I'm sure that the protesters felt they were defending themselves. It'll be interesting to see what that verdict is when the jury goes out to trial on Monday. We're also looking at Veterans Day and its celebration in the Arab American community. If you're a veteran, call me at 248-557-3300. Remember, this whole hour is about you. When I do the Ray Hanania show, sponsored by Arab News at arabnews.com, usually we just have guests, so there's very little time to talk to listeners, but we can talk to listeners today. The call-in number is 248-557-3300. That's 248-557-3300. I'm also monitoring the Facebook pages at US Arab Radio Network, and also on my page at Ray Hanania, RG Hanania on Facebook. So you want to post a question, I'll do my best to keep tabs on what's being posted and share that question with you. So remember, we're going to talk about the election mayors. And one issue that came up during the Michigan elections was the effort by Yemeni candidates to run and, win a seat on the Dearborn City Council, and they weren't able to do that. 3 candidates, not one of them was elected. I don't know. Is there like a dominant Arab group, or maybe we're not all Arab anymore? We kind of look at each other by our nationalities, Lebanese or Palestinian or Yemeni. It would be nice now to have some diversity on the Dearborn City Council. And, the Lebanese is very powerful in Dearborn. A lot of people think it's Palestinians in Dearborn, but that's not true. Chicago has the largest concentration of Palestinians in one congressional district with Congresswoman Marie Newman, who is just a phenomenal congresswoman. She's much like Betty McCollum, who really, these are Americans who stand up and fight for human rights in Palestine, in the conflict with Israel. So, I think, that might be one of the topics. If you want to call in, if you're Yemeni, do you feel you were kind of left out? Is there like a prejudice in the Arab community against Arabs? Does that exist? Let's go to the phone lines at 248-557-3300. Say hello. Finally, I can say yes. Hello to Jerry Haba. Jerry, how you doing, buddy?
Good morning, Mr. Ray, and good to hear your voice. And what a big difference when Mr. Ray Hanania allow his producer to receive a phone call from the listeners.
Yeah, we can't always do that on the other show. It's mainly a news, program, and it's hard to take call-ins because we have two guests and they're like 22 minutes each, and that's 44 minutes. And then the rest is eaten up by ads. We'd never be able to do the guests, but this one is all about you and the listeners. Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you. You are always there for us. No, I appreciate it, Ray, all your generosity before.
So what do you think? What do you think of this? Is there a prejudice in the Arab community? None of the Yemenis were able to make it on the Dearborn City Council, although that's the first time they've elected an Arab mayor.
Be honest with you, Ray.
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, there is, isn't there? There's all the communities were separate. We're not unified. The Lebanese, the Palestinians, the Yemeni. There's a big Yemeni community out there, isn't there?
Yes, it is, Ray. And I, in person, when I drive through the city of Hamtramck, there is a lot of big community of our brothers Yemenis and our brothers, the Bengali people. You could say, Ray, 2/3 of Hamtramck right now is occupied by Yemeni from Middle East and Bangladesh from the Far East.
Did any of the Yemenis win in Did any of the Yemenis win in Hamtramck, or any of them run?
Yes, sir.
Out there? Did they win?
First time over 100 years, a first Yemeni Arab, no different between Muslim and a Christian. He's Muslim.
No, I get it. Right. Yeah.
First time the history was made when Dr. Amir Ghalib, he won to be the first mayor in the city of Hamtramck. He defeated the American Polish woman.
Right.
And Hamtramck right now, matter of fact, Ray, if you go drive from 8 Mile to Intercontinent, you see there a big sign say, "Welcome to Bengali Town."
Is Amr Ghalib, is he, what kind of Arab Muslim is he? What's his ethnic?
From Yemen.
He's Yemeni. Okay, Amr is Yemeni then.
And first time he ran for public office and he won and he sweep the previous mayor. So congratulations to Dr. Amir Ghalib and to the Yemeni people. And they made a history on the great city of Hamtramck.
Well, that's good. I feel better. I feel better because, Jerry, it's hard sometimes to know what the background, the ethnic background is of, a lot of Arab candidates, because it's so confusing, unless you know them personally.
With my respect to you, and sorry to interrupt you. You see, Ray, here where I blame ourselves, the Middle Eastern community, no communication. You see, Ray, when you...
Yes, there was no communication.
open the airwave for any candidate. They do not come. I mean, it seemed to me they want the radio station go after them. Go, no, Ray. When I'm running for a public office, I should come to Ray or to Layla Al-Husseini or to anybody else trying to get on the air, on the radio, trying to sell my personality, my background, who I am, what I'm supposed to do, what I am fighting for. Right? Unfortunately, our candidates sometimes they don't do their homework. I'm sorry to say that. That include my people, the Iraqi Chaldean people. Right? Sometimes I used to talk to Layla and this to bring some candidates from the Chaldean community, and I talk to them over the air, invite them. I say the radio talk show, they are inviting you, and nobody responds.
But you know, Jerry, the Arab community, honestly, they don't understand media. They don't understand communication. That's always been their big problem. They just don't understand it. And like, for example, if I were Amr Ghalib, I would have had press releases going out to the whole world. If it was important to be a Yemeni mayor in Hamtramck, then I would have made that the lead story. They need media. They don't understand it. I know that's one of the big challenges Layla has, you know, trying to get the Arabs to understand how important the media is. Who's telling our stories? Nobody. You know what I mean? No, who records our stories? What happened in Detroit 30 years ago? You're the only.
Mr. Ray, sorry to interrupt you. Our people, who they apply for public office, the only time you see them on the air is the day of the election.
Right.
This is not enough, Mr. Ray.
I agree.
You know, on November the 2nd, I saw about 5, 6, 7 candidates, and Mr. Adil Mu'azzab, our friend from Yemen.
Good guy, yes.
He's a very nice person.
He won election to local Dearborn school board, right?
Yeah, and he's one of the highest elected official in the education of the city of Dearborn, and I'm proud. Mr. Adil Mu'azzab, Ray, I wish if we got about 10 people like him. He's very activist. He's very knowledgeable. He's very educated. Besides, he's a good sport announcer. He always mentions the soccer in England, and he talk about it like he's a professional. Yep. So, hello to Mr. Adil Mu'azzab, and I wish if he could hear us, that he could participate and call Ray Hanania, because Adil, he is one of good people from Middle East who care about his people. Now, Ray, I'm not trying to change the shift. Ray, what's going on, my friend, since January 20th, 2021? What's going on? The prices of the gasoline, $1.50 more than the last year. The grocery, the food, the meat, the chicken, even the turkey. What's going on, Ray, my friend? This does not look healthy. What's going on? Where is the President Biden? Where is Vice President Kamala Harris? Is she out of the picture? What's going on, Ray?
They're not following through with their promises. They're playing politics instead of being good government. You know, the Mayor Daley in Chicago used to say good government is good politics. But when you focus on good politics rather than on good government, you have problems like this. Biden appointed all those Arabs to big positions, none in his cabinet, you know, like the Jewish community, you know, to satisfy the Israelis. But he appointed all these Arabs. None of the Arabs are allowed to speak publicly. They've been censored. They've shut down their social media. Look at all these appointments that Biden has made in the Arab community. Their social media have been shut down by themselves because they're afraid that they're going to be criticized for something they said. Biden, you know, he's a good guy, but I'm telling you, it's like Trump. You know, I thought Trump was going to be a good guy, and he turned out to be a goof. You know, he turned out to be a goof. Now we elected the alternative to Trump. And what do we have? Somebody that I honestly have to say, I don't think he's done a great job. And he hasn't followed through. Jerry, we're going to take a break. All right. But I'm going to thank you for calling in. All right.
Ray, thank you, and God bless you. God bless America, and thanks to Leila Al-Husseini, her show, and your producer, Mr. Mike Shepka. I love you, Ray, and God bless you.
Thanks, Jerry. This is Ray Hanania here on WNZK AM 690 Radio. We're talking with listeners, 248-557-3300. I want you to call in. You know, when are we going to be proud of our Arab heritage and engage in politics? We need to do that. And this is the moment when you can do it. Don't sit back and say, oh, I have an opinion, and you don't share it. You need to share it. If you don't share it, you're doing a disservice to yourself. We don't have to agree. We're talking about a lot of different things this morning. We're talking about the election of mayors. Is there a racial problem in the Arab community among ourselves? Do we discriminate between Chaldeans and, Middle East people and Arabs, Lebanese, Palestinian, Syrian, Yemeni? I noticed that there were none of the three Yemeni candidates were able to get many votes, in the Dearborn trustee races. So that's one of our topics. The other one we're talking about is, if you want, Kyle Rittenhouse is in the news. He shot 3 people. 2 of them died during a protest in Kenosha. That's the big news. We're also talking about Arab Americans who served in the military for Veterans Day, and we're extending it to Veterans Day week because it's important. We have a website at ArabWarVeterans.com. If you want to go there and read the stories about Arab Americans who served in the military, at ArabWarVeterans.com. I'm Ray Hanania. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll take your phone calls at 248-557-3300, 248-557-3300. We'll be right back right after these messages.
ArabNews.com, bringing you breaking news from across the Middle East and the latest on Arabs in America. Get inside the latest headlines with expert analysis and insights at ArabNews.com. Join over 5 million Facebook fans and over 10 million monthly readers. ArabNews.com, news that matters to you.
While we've been staying safe at home, scientists have been on a journey. The destination, a COVID-19 vaccine. This journey began decades ago with research into other coronaviruses. Scientists built from there with months of research and development, cooperation with other experts worldwide, and clinical trials on tens of thousands of volunteers of diverse race, age, and health status. They arrived at a safe, effective vaccine, and hundreds of thousands in Michigan have already been vaccinated. But the next step is ours. We need to get the vaccine when we can. Keep wearing masks correctly and taking precautions until we reach our destination, freedom from COVID-19 and getting back to the lives we love. Discover the facts for yourself at michigan.gov/COVID vaccine. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Get ready for an amazing experience at Ishtar Restaurant on 15 Mile Road in Sterling Heights. Enjoy excellent hospitality from owners Ali Al-Baghdadi and Fatty Bottom, serving the best in Mediterranean food. Try Chef Ali Al-Baghdadi's famous shawarma, the best Iraqi grills and food, and the best Arabic and international dishes. Dine in our authentic atmosphere or take out. Call 586-698-2585 or check us out on Facebook. Ishtar Restaurant practices all CDC guidelines and is open every day 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Have an amazing experience today at Ishtar Restaurant, 3625 15 Mile Road, Sterling Heights.
Are your hands feeling numb? Do you feel pain opening up a jar, turning a key? Are you noticing that your elbow and your shoulder are becoming stiff? Or were you recently injured in your arm? Hello, I'm Dr. Albajid Katranji, and at the Katranji Hand Center, which just recently opened down the street from the Somerset Mall, we can provide you with the latest in hand, wrist, elbow, and shoulder care. Visit us at www.katranjihandcenter.com to learn the latest techniques that we have to offer you, and I look forward to taking care of you.
Visit us in Troy at 1565 West Big Beaver Road, Building F, or call Katranji Hand Center for an appointment at 248-869-4263. That's 248-869-4263. Life is a nonprofit charity that's provided humanitarian aid and development to people and communities for over 25 years, regardless of race, color, religion, or cultural background. When disaster occurs here or around the world, Life for Relief and Development rushes in to provide food, medical aid, and shelter to those in need. Please help improve these efforts. Make your tax-deductible donation to Life now at lifeusa.org or call 248-424-7493.
And welcome back to Radio Bellady, Friday, November 12th. I'm Ray Hanania as your guest host this morning. Our number is 248-557-3300. One of the topics we're talking about this morning on WNZK AM 690 Live in broadcasting from Dearborn and also on the Facebook pages at facebook.com/US Arab Radio and on my page at RG Hanania. Is there a discrimination or racism in the Arab community itself? Do we discriminate against each other? Do we only support and vote for our kind? Do Lebanese just vote for the Lebanese? Do Chaldeans just vote for the Chaldeans? Do Yemenis just vote for the Yemenis? Do we not vote for each other? Is there even an Arab identity? So it's interesting because I didn't know, by the way, and one of the topics we're talking about is the failure of the Arab community to engage in media. Amar Ghalib is Yemeni. I didn't know that. He should have put out a press release, when he was running. I didn't see any press releases from Amar. We kind of take it for granted, because in the Arab world, communication is discouraged by the governments. They don't want you thinking out loud. Many of them, not all of them, but many of them. And you're restricted. So we bring that here to the United States and we allow ourselves to be beat up and pushed around because we don't get our voices out. We're afraid of media. We're afraid to talk. We think that the mukhabarat is listening and they're going to take our name down if we say something, that they don't like, and they'll turn us in and we'll be in trouble. We have relatives that live back home in the Middle East. Believe me, I'm one of the loudest Arab voices, loudest mouth, if you want to call me, but loudest Arab voices in the United States. And I'm constantly talking about what the Israelis do to my family, in occupied Palestine and in Israel. They're Israeli citizens and they're under occupation. And I always worry about what the Israelis are going to do to me. But I believe truth is so important. You got to get it out. It weakens the oppression. It weakens the oppressors. So we need to be more open. Is there a discrimination against Yemenis in Dearborn? I'd really like to know. I don't know. I just saw 3 Yemeni candidates who lost by it was like they were a political party. The Yemeni political party, the Lebanese political party did well in Dearborn. And congratulations, by the way, to Abdullah Hamoud, the state legislator. We've had him on radio before. Abdullah is a great guy, very smart, very progressive, outreach to everybody, but it's the voters. And I'm not talking about the candidates, it's the voters. We need to reach out and do things and get our story out. I'm not sure we do that. 248-557-3300. So we're talking about, is there a discrimination in the Arab community? And we're also talking about the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. And by the way, I want to give a shout out to in Chicago, where I'll tell you what, one organization knows how to do something. It's so different from the other organizations, that have haflas, they eat Arab food, they sing Ella Del Ona all the time, but all these Ella Del Ona songs, but they don't do anything. They pat themselves on the back and they give themselves awards. This one organization, the American Arab Chamber of Commerce, headed by Hassan Nijam. This guy is so progressive and active. He's a fighter. His word is action. That's Hassan Nijam's word. It's action. And Hassan is leading the charge to stop the racism and discrimination by the city of Chicago, which Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Now, you think Lori Lightfoot is a progressive, right? She's a woman. She's gay, lesbian. She's African-American. You think that here's a person who understands what discrimination is all about. Instead, what she did was she sent out a task force of police and inspectors that targeted Arab-owned stores in Chicago and shut them down. They go into the Arab store, with the purpose to shut them down. And while they were there, they'd find alleged code violations. Most of them were just phony, and they shut down 100 Arab stores. But the really sad part about that is, for 3 months, nobody said anything. Nobody in the Arab community did anything. What are you going to do? How do you stand up to racism and complain about it when you don't do anything? They were afraid. They didn't think they had any place to go. So they reached out to me, and they reached out to the American Arab Chamber of Commerce and Hassan Nijam. And I got some stories published about that racism by Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Terrible person that she is. Never apologized. What a hypocrite. And any Arab who brags that they worked for her, yeah, I have to wonder, what kind of Arab are you? Where's your self-respect? Working for a mayor, a political person who went out and discriminated against Arab stores. Now, it's not just discrimination. She shut down 100 Arab gas stations and grocery stores, mainly because they were open 24 hours a day. And her theory was, because she's a failed mayor, that street gang members would go there in the middle of the night looking for some place to make it look like they weren't doing anything. So it was like an opportunity for them to avoid police scrutiny. So she figured, hey, let's just shut down the Arabs, because the Arabs have no clout. Arab Americans don't have a voice. Arab Americans don't know how to get their story out. Boy, was she wrong. So the American Arab Chamber of Commerce and Hassan Nijam jumped all over that. And then I wrote stories about it. And her staff and her were so afraid of the accusation that they were racist that they stopped. They stopped shutting down the stores. Listen, if you're a grocery store or a gas station and you're violating the law, or violating the codes of the city where you're at, you should correct it or be shut down. But what they were doing was shutting you down and then telling you to correct it. And then when you correct it, they'd come back and find more code violations, because the purpose was to shut them down. Each of those gas stations were losing $50,000 a month. And many of them were shut for 2-3 months. Some of these gas station owners deserved representation, we're talking with the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee to file a lawsuit to take action against the city of Chicago and Lori Lightfoot. And again, I'm going to say that any Arab American who brags that they are a friend of Lori Lightfoot, you're destroying your own community. You are not a friend of the Arab American community. That is a fact, okay? That is an absolute fact. If you're a friend of hers and you're silent about these gas stations, you worked for her during the transition, that's shameful. That is so shameful that you were silent when she was doing all this stuff. A shout out to Jim Smith, who's watching us on US Arab Radio. Thanks, Jim, for watching us. I'm Ray Hanania. We're going to take another break here. And when we come back, we'll continue our discussion. The topics are, is there racism in the Arab American community against each other? Do Yemenis discriminate against Lebanese? Do Lebanese discriminate against Yemenis? Do Palestinians discriminate? Do the Chaldeans discriminate? Are they, in every direction? I'm not singling them each out saying they discriminate. Are they victims of discrimination? Do they discriminate? We're also talking about the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. I think that he's innocent, and he should be punished for having illegally a AR-15. But the media was so biased. They falsely reported. When do they fact check the conservative side? They only fact check the far left. They said that he bought a gun. He didn't buy a gun. It was given to him by one of the store owners, his friend at one of the store owners, to help protect the stores during the riots that followed the Jacob Blake killing there, which was a tragedy. But in the context of the bigger protests following George Floyd, how many Arab stores were destroyed in that 3-month period in 2020 because the store owner where George Floyd was killed, in front of that store was Arab American. There were hundreds of Arab stores. Do you think the media wrote about any of that? No, they didn't. That's why we have to fight for ourselves. Get up, people. Stand up and defend yourself. And don't get suckered into this belief of that somehow the Democratic Party loves you more than the Republican Party, or the Republican Party loves you more than the Democratic Party. Neither party loves you. They pander to you, they exploit you, they use you, and you get suckered in because you're a victim in this country. We're also going to talk about Veterans Day. We served. We deserve to have our rights. I served during the Vietnam War. My brother was a U.S. Marine. My dad and uncle, as you know from past radio shows that I've done, they served during the Vietnam War. They served in the military during World War II. They enlisted right after Pearl Harbor. And my dad went into the OSS in the U.S. Fifth Army. And my uncle Moses was assigned to the Navy because the recruiters felt that anyone named Moses would help part the seas. So he served 4 years on a battleship in the North Atlantic fighting the Nazis. And my dad was in Europe with the OSS fighting the Nazis. And there are thousands of stories like that in the Arab community. And Americans don't think we're patriotic. We need to do a better job of telling our story. I'm Ray Hanania. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to take your calls, 248-557-3300, 248-557-3300. We'll be right back right after these messages.
ArabNews.com, bringing you breaking news from across the Middle East and the latest on Arabs in America. Get inside the latest headlines with expert analysis and insights at ArabNews.com. Join over 5 million Facebook fans and over 10 million monthly readers. ArabNews.com, news that matters to you.
At Top Rehab Physical Therapy Clinic in Dearborn, we provide effective physical therapy sessions in order to limit pain and discomfort. Top Rehab provides physical therapy care for any diagnosis prescribed by a physician, and we regularly see and treat conditions such as stroke, TMJ, fibromyalgia, sciatica, joint pain, and more. We use a variety of pain management methods, including modalities, soft tissue mobilization, and therapeutic exercise. If you're in need of physical rehabilitation or physical therapy, get the highest quality health care at Top Rehab. Most insurance is accepted, and we're open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday 8 to 6, Tuesday and Thursday 8 to 5, and Saturday 10 till 2. Call for an appointment today at 313-846-0555. That's 313-846-0555. Choose Top Rehab Physical Therapy Clinic on Michigan Avenue in Dearborn. Life's too short to be in pain. Enjoy the first Syrian-style cuisine in Michigan. At Damas Cuisine and Catering, you'll find a wide selection of Syrian foods and sweets in our menu, like frikeh, hoisin, grape leaves with steak, mishawi platter, hot mahashi, char-grilled kebab, shawarma, and much more. Get super fast delivery from Damas Cuisine and Catering right to your door. Order online at damascuisine.com/menu and track your order live. Damas Cuisine and Catering, 28841 Orchard Lake Road in Farmington Hills. Call 248-987-4985. When it comes to reproductive medicine, IVF Michigan Fertility Centers are the recognized leaders. With locations in Bloomfield Hills and 5 other cities in Michigan and Ohio, IVF has experts in all aspects of the field. As a founding member of IVF Michigan Fertility Centers, Dr. Nicholas Shama is one of the leading reproductive endocrinologists in Michigan and Ohio. Dr. Shama has performed over 10,000 IVF cases and has helped thousands of couples fulfill their dreams of parenthood. American board certified in both obstetrics and gynecology and reproductive endocrinology and infertility, Dr. Nicholas Shama is a very caring, compassionate, expert physician that understands not only the medical but also the emotional toil of infertility on his patients. When it's time, get personalized care from Dr. Nicholas Shama at IVF Michigan Fertility Centers in Michigan and Ohio. Call toll-free 855-952-9600, 855-952-9600.
Ziyad brand. Quality products from our family to yours. Ziyad Brothers Importing offers the finest quality products, including brands like Sultan, Kraft, Nestle, Hook, Rico Picon, Donna, and many more. Ask your retailer to carry these fine products because you deserve the very best. For more information, visit our website at www.ziyad.com. That's www.ziyad.com. Ziyad, quality products from our family to yours.
You know, we're back here at Radio Baladi, Friday, November 12th. I'm the guest host today, sitting in for Layla El-Husseini. Second Friday of every month. Layla is kind enough to invite me to host the show here, which I love to do. And hopefully I'll be back with Arab News, sponsoring my radio show, the Ray Hanania Show, hopefully after the beginning of the year. And we run every Wednesday. That's more of a news show where we do news interviews with newsmakers. And members of Congress like Betty McCollum and Marie Newman and others. We had several members of Congress. But, you know, in the Arab community, they just don't understand the media. They say they do, but they really don't. They don't understand that communications is so important. You got to be full-time, 24/7 on the mark with communications. You got to be on top of it. You got to be calling in here at 248-557-3300 and share your views because Americans listen to us. And if they don't hear our voices, they don't think we count. None of the candidates, very few of them anyway, of the Arab candidates. I mean, I thought they did really well. Very few of them know how to put out a press release. They don't know how to write a press release. That's really shameful. If you don't know how to write, they don't have any professional media people helping them. What they do is put out a newsletter to their followers, but it's not their followers that they need to reach out to. They need to reach out to the people that didn't vote for them. Half the people that didn't vote for them because they just didn't understand them or didn't know them. So you can get half of those people that didn't vote for you by reaching out to them with proper and effective communications, press releases, with a media campaign. It's so simple. I see this all the time. You know, the funny thing, I have my own media company and I help Americans in government and candidates. And it's so easy for them to do stuff. But Arabs, they don't believe that they need media help. You know, there's kind of an arrogance. Let's face it, we Arabs, we think that, you know, we're more important than everybody, that Arabic is the only language that's important. We're here in this country and we don't realize the importance of speaking English and doing things in English. We should only speak Arabic on rare occasions. Everything should be in English. Our target shouldn't be the choir. We shouldn't be talking to ourselves. We should be talking to Americans. This is a big opportunity to share your voice. 248-557-3300, to thank Layla El-Husseini for all the work she does, and to thank people like Hassan Nijam of the American Arab Chamber of Commerce in Chicago, who is fighting for the rights. The only organization in Chicagoland fighting for the rights of Arab retailers at grocery stores and gas stations in the city of Chicago that were targeted by Mayor Lori Lightfoot, discriminated against, hundreds of them shut down. It was terrible. But, you know, what we want to do is all we want to do is fight about Trump and Biden. You know, like none of those guys. You think really Biden cares about the Arab community more than us? I love the fact that Biden talks the talk, but does he walk the walk? Trump was a big disappointment. Trump proved that the guy had no talent to lead a country. He had some good ideas, and I felt he was certainly a better candidate than Hillary Clinton. I don't know if you watched the FX series Impeachment about Bill Clinton. What he did to women was disturbing. What Bill Clinton did to women, to disrespect them, was disturbing and terrible. And we didn't get half the story. And part of the problem is the media. The media manipulates the story for their own political agenda. They're more involved in politics than the politicians. But Arabs need to be the same way. We need to roll up our sleeves, get involved in politics, get involved in elections, be more active. And that means picking up the phone and practice. you can call here at 248-557-3300. Jerry Hubba is only the only person who listens to radio and engages. I should get Jerry Hubba his own radio show because he could fill an hour just like me easily. But the point is that you shouldn't be sitting there silent, shaking your head or saying, oh yeah, the world is terrible. Nobody cares about us. You know, we don't get what we want, blah, blah, blah. If you don't speak up, it's meaningless. If you don't stand up and fight for your rights, and we are American. This is Veterans Day yesterday, and we had a lot of Arab Americans who served in the military, and those Arab Americans should be telling their story. There's a website you should visit called ArabWarVeterans.com. ArabWarVeterans.com. That's where we document the stories of Arab Americans who served in the military. And why do we do that? Because we want Americans to know that Arab Americans are as patriotic. We're as just as everybody else. We do great things for this country, and we should not be overlooked. We should be supported. And it's very simple how to do that. One of the things that the media has ripped apart is this Kyle Rittenhouse trial. They're so biased. The media, that someone needs to fact check the media, because the media has been reporting that Kyle Rittenhouse bought the AR-15. He didn't buy the AR-15. He was up in Kenosha. He's from the Chicagoland area. He went up to Kenosha in response to the Jacob Blake killing, but the protest kind of took the air of the George Floyd protest, in which thousands and thousands of businesses, including Arab American businesses, were looted, destroyed, and burned down by arsonists. And you want to know something? The media didn't care. All the media cared about was the politics of the protests and how it impacts their bottom line, selling newspapers. So if they felt that the far left was someone that would buy their newspapers, they pandered to the far left. That's what they did. It's a fact. And the other things that the media failed to do on the Kyle Rittenhouse controversy was that they didn't report that the two people he shot had punched him, had beat him up, had attacked him, had weapons, had guns. They threatened to kill him. What would you do? I would want a gun if I was standing there defending my business and one of the protesters threatened me and said they were going to kill me. What would you do? You'd do exactly as Kyle Rittenhouse did. He'd defend himself. And that part of the story was never really reported. It wasn't until this trial that we've watched live on HLN this week where we found out that these victims, and, you know, I don't want to see anybody killed. I don't want to see George Floyd killed. The police officers should have been punished, not to the extent they didn't intentionally murder George Floyd. They should not have been put in jail. This Derek Chauvin didn't deserve all that time and the harassment and the attacks. They made him out to look like a mass murderer. He wasn't. But yeah, he should have been, punished for not properly doing his job, but not for murdering George Floyd. George Floyd was what? He was on drugs. He was committing a crime for the second time. I think the police acted a little aggressively with him, but then he was resisting arrest. What do you do when someone resists arrest? You try to stop them. That's the fact. And yet people in our own community, we don't care about the facts. All they care about is, can we use Black Lives Matter to promote our cause in Palestine? Is that how you want to promote Palestine? No wonder you're not doing a good job. Has anybody told you guys, the activists, you're not doing a good job of promoting Palestine? That's a fact. You're doing a terrible job. It's not enough to cry about the violence from the Israelis. The settlers are racist. Israel is an apartheid government. It's not enough to say that. You have to live it, and you have to be principled about it, and you have to stand up for what's right. 248-557-3300. If you want to share your views, you have some time. We're on for another 15 minutes. We're going to take another break, our final break segment. And then when we come back, I'm hoping you'll call in. Some people, you guys are up, right, in the morning in Detroit, the Arab community, or do we sleep late? 248-557-3300. I'm Ray Hanania. We're going to be right back right after these messages.
ArabNews.com, bringing you breaking news from across the Middle East and the latest on Arabs in America. Get inside the latest headlines with expert analysis and insights at ArabNews.com. Join over 5 million Facebook fans and over 10 million monthly readers. ArabNews.com, news that matters to you.
While we've been staying safe at home, scientists have been on a journey. The destination, a COVID-19 vaccine. This journey began decades ago with research into other coronaviruses. Scientists built from there with months of research and development, cooperation with other experts worldwide, and clinical trials on tens of thousands of volunteers of diverse race, age, and health status. They arrived at a safe, effective vaccine, and hundreds of thousands in Michigan have already been vaccinated. But the next step is ours. We need to get the vaccine when we can. Keep wearing masks correctly and taking precautions until we reach our destination, freedom from COVID-19 and getting back to the lives we love. Discover the facts for yourself at michigan.gov/COVID vaccine. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Kashat's Mediterranean Market in Shish Kebab offers a great array of your favorite Mediterranean meals. Meals range from lamb specialties, shawarma sandwiches, and seafood dinners. Plus, they offer big trays of your favorite food and so much more. Kashat's Mediterranean Market in Shish Kebab is located at 32839 Northwestern Highway in Farmington Hills and is open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So stop in or call Kashat's today at 248-538-9552. That number again, 248-538-9552. Kashat's Mediterranean Market in Shish Kebab will definitely leave you satisfied.
Are you going to start a restaurant or a grocery store soon? Do you need floor plans and designs? Call Najee Abood at 734-744-9796. Do you want to buy kitchen and restaurant equipment at discount prices? Call Najee Abood now, 734-744-9796. New Concept Products and Design, the trademark of kitchen equipment. 5% discount on all purchases of $75,000 or more. New Concept Products and Design, new location, 31185 Schoolcraft in Livonia. Learn more at www.newconceptproducts.com. Call Najee Abood, 734-744-9796. When you're looking for the best in optical care, Dr. Imad Nakash is your doctor to see. With years of experience and thousands of successful procedures performed, you can trust your eyes to Dr. Imad Nakash. See Dr. Imad Nakash and his professional staff for your eye care needs. There's 2 locations to serve you. In Hazel Park, call 248-336-3937. 248-336-3937. In Rochester Hills, call 248-299-3937. That's 248-299-3937.
Welcome back to Radio Ballady here, November 12th on Friday. I'm your guest host, Ray Hanania, here at WNZK AM 690. And I want to, of course, thank Layla El Husseini for allowing us on. I wanted to do a segment where we would open up the phone lines to our callers. And of course, our friend Jerry Haba called, and we appreciate that. Actually, I'm going to talk to him, see if we can get, going to talk to the radio station, see if we can give him an hour show on his own, because he's a good talker. He has a lot of opinions. But the rest of you, hey, wake up, people. You know, you're being pushed around. Your rights are being denied. We have problems in our community that are not being addressed. We're not taking care of those problems. You need to wake up and do stuff. 248-557-3300. Is there racism between the different Arab nationalities? Do we discriminate against each other? Yemenis against Lebanese, Lebanese against Yemenis? I noticed that I didn't, and do we do enough PR? Like Amr Ghalib, I didn't know he was Yemeni. I guess you'd have to be from Hamtramck to, and I never get that city's name. We got to change it. I don't like any city with the word ham in it anyway, even though my mother was born in Bethlehem. So we need to get Mayor Ghalib. Congratulations to him, but you need to do a better job of PR. Abdullah Hammoud does a pretty good job of media, but he doesn't put out press releases. They just put out a newsletter. Like Sam Rasool in Virginia, what a great guy, state rep out there, but he doesn't know how to put out press releases. He just puts out newsletters too. Marie Newman is another one, a congresswoman from Chicago, great congresswoman. Doesn't know really how to do media at all. She knows how to put out newsletters. Newsletters are great for the choir, right? Your followers, the ones that are already voting for you. But it's the rest of the people that need to know what you're doing so you win more support. They don't understand it. And also shout out to Bill Bazzi, who fended off a challenge in Dearborn Heights and was reelected mayor out there. Or was elected mayor out there, winning the partial term and the full term. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to Abdullah Hammoud. Congratulations to Amr Ghalib. But if you're Yemeni, I guess if I were Yemeni, I'd be upset that none of the Yemeni candidates, the 3 candidates for trustee, were able to win trustee seats in Dearborn. That would upset me. But maybe it doesn't matter. Right? Maybe they just ran because it was fun and they didn't want to win a seat. Adel Moseb is somebody who understands the importance of politics, and he's now on the Dearborn School Board. And that's precedent setting. So especially not just for the Yemeni community, but for the Arab American community. And we're glad he's there because we add our voices. It's not like we want to take over. We want to add our voice to government. We want to be part of it. We want to have a role in deciding what happens to us. I'm going to urge you to go to my website at hanania.com and go to the ArabDailyNews.com if you want to get more information on the columns that I write, on the topics. They get, hundreds of thousands of views every week, mainly Americans. Some Arabs, we kind of stay up to date, right, with the news, but do we really get involved? I don't know. I think we need to do more. We're not doing enough. We need to do more. And that's one reason why I love to do radio. I know that I'll get a lot of react over the next week from people who watch the videos that are on Facebook, because we're broadcasting live on Facebook at US Arab Radio and also on my Facebook page at RG Hanania on Facebook. I still have some spots open for friends, or Ray Hanania FP Facebook page. You can go there and follow me there. So I'd love to hear what you have to say. 248-557-3300. Of course, I could talk forever because I made a career in communications and I published hundreds of thousands of articles over the past 40 years when I was one of the only Palestinians and Arabs in American journalism in the 1950s. I think there was one other one, Aziz Shahab, out in, I think it was Dallas. He is the father of Naomi Shihab Nye, the author. What a phenomenal lady. And Aziz Shahab was a good friend of mine. He actually got into journalism before me, one of the first Arab Americans in professional journalism. And he was a role model for me. Mohammed Mehdi in New York City published a newsletter there every month about Arab American rights. And Dr. Mohammed T. Mehdi was a phenomenal influence and a phenomenal spokesperson for championing the cause of Arab Americans. And I learned so much from Mohammed Mehdi. What a great guy, always fighting for our rights in a community that's kind of lazy. The Arab Americans, we're kind of a lazy community, right? We really don't do much, do we? There's some of us like Layla Al-Husseini and Hassan Nijam who are out there working hard to defend the rights of Arab Americans. But the rest of us, I don't know. It's kind of laziness, or maybe it's fear. Maybe we're afraid to speak out because we don't want to be the only voices. You don't see me being afraid. I just tell you my opinion. I'm happy to discuss it with anybody. It's no one person has a lock on what the true opinions are, whether it's Kyle Rittenhouse, whether it's Joe Biden, but I'm upset as an Arab American. Joe Biden, made this pact with the Arab American community during the campaign, and now Arabs are just happy to accept the fact that they're not doing anything. Let's go to the phone lines at 248-557-3300. Welcome, Hassan, to U.S. Arab Radio Baladi in Detroit. Hassan, welcome, buddy.
Thank you, Mr. Hananiya.
Hassan Nijam. Hassan Nijam is the president. I was just talking about him. The American Arab Chamber of Commerce in Chicago, fighting for the rights of Arabs. I'm honored to know you, Hassan. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Thank you. We are fighting for the rights and fighting for the Arab and Muslim and their property tax and the gas station and grocery we have recently.
You're the only organization that stood up for the Arab grocers, retailers, and gas stations. You're the only organization. And as soon as you stood up, Mayor Lori Lightfoot and all her friends got scared and they stopped discriminating. So we owe you. And plus, I'll tell our listeners too that, one of the things that Hassan Nijam is doing is that he's working with the Cook County Treasurer, Maria Pappas. What a great lady. And they're doing outreach to Arab and Muslim organizations to help Arab and Muslims review their property taxes. And you've returned how much money to the Arab and Muslim community?
We returned till now $1 million.
That's amazing. Did you have something this morning, don't you?
Yeah. We have this after this Friday prayer. We will have another event going to another mosque and another church to save the community another thousands of dollars sitting in the Cook County Treasurer Bank. We bring it back to the community.
It's unheard of that an organization actually does something, Hassan. That's why, in all my years, my eyes are completely open with what the American Arab Chamber of Commerce is doing. And they should go to your website at aaccusa.org. Correct? aaccusa.org. Excuse me. They should go there and see you brought $1 million in refunds to Arab American taxpayers. Hassan, I got to let you go because we're at the end of the show, but I'm so glad that you called, and we're looking for more great things from you.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Thank you.
All right, buddy.
Thank you.
You are going to save. I think you're going to save more than $5 million in property tax refunds, and that's the biggest thing anybody has ever done for the Arab American community. Thanks, Hassan.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Ray.
All right, I want to thank everybody for joining in and listening to us here at Radio Baladi, Friday, November 12th. I'm Ray Hanania. We're at the end of our show, so I got to kind of sign off. But I hope you'll follow me at hanania.com and visit U.S. Arab Radio online, their Facebook page, and also at U.S. Arab Radio. And follow me on Facebook also look for Ray Hanania FP Facebook page or RG Hanania. I am Ray Hanania. You guys have a great day. I want to thank Mike and I want to thank Crystal Mayo because honestly, I love Crystal Mayo's music. The Party Train, Cup of Joe, every morning. It's phenomenal that when I do the show on Fridays, she's on in the morning and it gets me going. I appreciate it. Have a great week, everybody. Talk to you again. See you on my website at hanania.com. Bye-bye.